Don't know. What about ukulele? Well, what's this video? It's going to be our ukulele journey.
Yeah.
Our journey to the ukulele.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Welcome back to Anarchy in the Ukulele. So today we decided we would do our journey to the ukulele. Because we've been around for a little while now. We've been doing this for about 9 months. So we thought we'd let you guys kind of know what our background is, what our history is, why we're doing this, why the ukulele. Some of these questions I'm not sure I know the answer to. But so on this video it's going to be me. There's going to be Bongoboy. That's for you to cut to, Bongoboy. There's going to be Abbie. There's not going to be Paul. Hey! No. We decided that we'd do a slightly longer video with Paul because Paul's had a much longer journey to the ukulele, and he's much better than us. So we thought that we'd give him a bit of airtime for once. So in a couple of weeks or so, there's going to be a longer video with Paul coming out. Maybe we'll do an interview. Should we do an interview? Yeah, that'll fill some time. Yeah, so me, Bongoboy and Abbie, we're each going to tell you a little bit about kind of why we're doing this, how we got here. So I'm going to start, at least. How did I get here? Kicking and screaming. That's how I got here. Paul Mansell dragged me kicking and screaming.
Well, KD and Abbie asked me to record a little bit about myself for this video that we're putting out. It was an idea that we came up with this morning, and I think this video is going out this evening. So we haven't had much time to plan, but he just said, sit down with the camera, tell them a bit about your life, and yeah, help our audience get to know us a little bit better and our background and where we came from. So, I mean, I was born in hospital. I was like a ridiculously heavy baby. When I was in primary school, the last day of term, I fell off monkey bars and dislocated my arm. That was the worst summer ever. And then like the day after I passed my driving test, my dad said, right, let's go to Birmingham, you're driving, which was, yeah, a bit mad. Last year I was diagnosed type 1 diabetic, which I tried to keep to myself because I know people they don't need to know about it, so I try not to bring it up too often. But it comes up every now and then. Me and Fern, we played at our wedding, which people thought was a bit cheesy, but we enjoyed it. It was a bit of fun. Oh, Kevin's calling me. Hey, yeah. No, you said to. Well, I mean, it's been about 45 minutes. Oh, I thought you said life story, not like how we got the channel going and like where we are. Just the music. Okay, just the music stuff. Okay, sure. All right. Okay, see you in a bit.
Hi, I am Abbie from Anarchy in the Ukulele. Abbie the Goldberg to you, and I am going to tell you a little bit about my ukulele journey. Oh, I sound a bit like Paul, don't I? So, my ukulele journey, how did it start? So, I have been running a music publishing company since... Oh, I can't remember. I'm pregnant and my brain doesn't work. It's been a long time. I've been working in music publishing, and Paul is one of our authors. And we've done a few bits with him, and we wanted to just showcase the ukulele in this a bit more. I'll be honest, I wasn't fully sold to begin with, but Katie told me there would be TV presenting, fame, fortune, and I thought, great, I'll be the next Holly Willoughby. It hasn't happened yet, but fingers crossed. I've also been a session singer for years, and we run our own record label in the recording studio, so I'm used to kind of being around that. We've done a lot of filming, so it's sort of a natural progression for us to get into that and to give a little bit more insight into the ukulele, make it a little bit more, I guess, current. And I mean, it's obviously a very approachable instrument anyway, but to make it a little bit more approachable for the masses, you know, a little bit less cliche or, you know, sort of, you know, make it a little bit less cheesy and a little bit more cool, I guess, was kind of our aim. Obviously, we've got Paul, so sort of lowers it down a little bit.
I've been a musician for as long as I can remember. My main instrument is piano, so not ukulele. I grew up playing the piano, so I played the piano from literally before I can remember. I was playing the piano, taught by my grandma and granddad, and that's my instrument. That's the instrument that I've always loved. But I've always loved music, so I went from the piano to really trying to play as many different things as I could, I think, when I was young. What did I play after piano? Always wanted to play guitar, but guitar kind of came later on in my journey, just because I found it really hard to play. So I played the piano. I then played the drums at school. So I loved playing the drums. And in my school, we didn't even have a drum kit. So we had to make a drum kit. We had a snare drum. We had a bass drum, which was like one of those school bass drums that you couldn't like play with a pedal. It was huge. It was like the size of about 3 bass drums and was just boomy and ringy. And we had that. So we had this hybrid drum kit where we'd have 3 of us playing it all at once. One would be playing a cymbal, one would be playing the snare drum, and someone else would be on their knees playing the bass drum with a big beat. And that was our drum kit. But that led me on to playing proper drums.
Growing up, my dad was a drummer. He still is a drummer. He doesn't gig very much now, but he still is a drummer. And I used to want to play drums and be like my dad and play drums, but I was too small because I was just a kid. And I sat on the drum stool, sticks in hand, big sticks, and I couldn't hit all the drums, couldn't kick the kick pedal or anything like that. So it was like, oh, can't enjoy this as much. So then my parents bought me a pair of bongos for my 10th birthday, and I loved them, and I played them, formed a band with my dad. We got a couple of his friends, guitar and bass, to come along, and we did a few gigs down a local pub. Bit controversial, I was 10 years old, but it was fine. It was a little country pub, so nobody cared, and like local village hall and things like that. And I started playing more and more alongside school. I didn't do much, but when I was sort of mid early teens, I started a YouTube channel, Bongoboy UK. Was going to go Bongoboy, that was taken, so I've had to be Bongoboy UK, and did a few very, very bad videos to start with, which I still have on my channel. Because I thought it's nice to see the progression that I've made in the last 15, 20 years. And I started posting more and more videos and doing more and more.
I then learnt to play the trumpet. I was in a marching band. So I played the trumpet and then played various brass instruments after that. So growing up, I ended up really specialising on the trombone and euphonium, all the while with piano going along in the background, doing all the usual things. Then came probably guitar after that, which I'd consistently been trying to play, but never could get very far in it. So I kind of started from then, which would have been probably about the age of maybe 14, 15. I don't think I ever got to grips with the guitar until my early 30s. And that was when I kind of found that I could play it. So I play a bunch of instruments, which at the end I might list just for fun and just to make everyone else feel bad. No, that's a bit mean, isn't it? At the end, I might list a bunch of instruments just to make Abbie feel bad. So my main focus and how we got here is that I'm a recording engineer. And that's what I've been doing as a profession for around about 25 years. Oh, that's a long time, isn't it? Yeah, around about 25 years. I've had 4 recording studios, a record label that is still going, Ginger Dog Records. mainly with local artists, but a few further afield, and all sorts of genres even, from country, folk, quite a lot of folk, Bongoboy and Fern's band. Who knows what they are at the minute? That changes every week. But we will be doing a new record or something soon. I've decided. I haven't told them yet.
We were playing, just doing a few bits here and there and a couple of open mics. And my job at the time, I needed to organise an event, and we wanted some music. So I thought, right, okay, we want a few acts, and we'll do like an open mic kind of thing. But I didn't know enough people to fill it, so I went to a local open mic that I hadn't been to before to see if I could find some people who'd be interested. And I bumped into some of the most amazing musicians that I've ever known. Found a few musicians to come and play at this event. Thought, great, fab, we'll book those in. And the event went really, really well. And then a month later, I thought, I really want to go to that open mic again. I really enjoyed that. Everyone there was really great. So I went there, and one person there, Carl, asked if I could go up and play with his songs. So I thought, oh, yeah, go on then. I haven't done much sort of improvising and not knowing the songs or anything. They were original songs, they weren't covers. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. Played, and we clicked just like that. And it was like, this is amazing, it sounds fabulous. And then the next person came up to play, and as I was getting off stage, he said, oh, no, can you play on my stuff as well? It sounded great. I was like, sure. So I basically spent the entire night on stage, because everyone would come up and be like, yeah, join in, yeah, sure, that's fun. And it was really good fun. At the end of the night, there was this girl came up, similar age to me, and she came up onto stage, and I'd heard her the month before, and I thought, oh no, she plays quite melodic, folky stuff, and my playing wouldn't work with that. I'm just gonna stand aside, let her take the stage. But she said, oh no, you can play on my stuff. And I thought, I don't want to ruin it. And she said, no, you won't ruin it. So I played bongos on it and just played really intricate and really subtle stuff. And she loved it. And then the next month, open mic again, played with the same people again. And then they asked if I wanted to join their group because they'd started playing together. I thought, oh yeah, sure, that sounds fun. And we started going out as a trio, doing gigs all over the place. And about 6 months after we started playing, I thought, I'm going to try my luck and ask her out. And so I asked her out, and her name's Fern. 9 years later, we're now married. We're still playing together. We formed a duo a few years ago called Dusky Sunday. That came about because Fern was approached by a record label to ask if she wanted to record something, and she turned it down at the time because she was so busy. But then she started uni and was doing music tech, and got back in touch with the record label and asked if she could come in during the summer just to do a bit of work experience, try it out. And they said yes, and they said that we can't pay you, but we'd love to record something in return. So she thought, oh great, okay. Fern had already released an album a couple of years before that, and we both decided that we'd form an actual duo, change the name, and go out as one. So we formed Dusky Sunday. We then recorded this album with the record label, and the record label was Ginger Dog Records, owned by Kevin and Abbie. So that's how I got to know Kevin and Abbie. And then, it was probably 4 or 5 years later, Kevin and Abbie approached me personally and asked if I wanted a job. They had a publishing company that they were running, and they needed a graphic designer to come in to do book covers and things like that. And they knew of the work I had done previously and knew that I was reasonably competent, and that they liked me.
I've also worked in publishing for the last 18 years, and now I'm running a publishing company that I've been working on and off for 18 years that we have now taken over. So that's all part of what we do. We publish lots of music education stuff is what we do. So tutor books, which leads me on to how we met Paolo the Mansell. So Paul was one of our authors and composers, and came to us with an idea. I believe he came to us anyway. He might tell this story slightly differently. Came to us with an idea to write a ukulele tutor called... What's his ukulele tutor called?
Ukulele school?
Ukulele school? I can't remember. So we've done a bunch of books. But before we did Ukulele School, we actually did an album with him. We decided we were going to record an album with him. And that was probably the moment that opened my eyes to the ukulele being different to what I perceived it to be. So I'd grown up, the usual thing, I think, in this country, seeing sort of clips of George Formby, or as Abbie will call him, George Foreman, and his lean, mean, fat reducing grinning machine, or whatever it's called. But yeah, so I'd seen clips of George Formby, and it just didn't do anything for me. It wasn't my style of music, it wasn't my cup of tea. I should say, actually, more than anything else, I'm a jazz musician. That's what I ended up sort of playing. Jazz piano was my thing. Played in lots of jazz trios. Have made a couple of albums that do incredibly well on Spotify. If you could pop those on screen, Bongo, with links for people to subscribe to my Spotify channel, that would be brilliant. So yeah, I'm a jazz musician. So sorry, I'm diverting. So back to Paul. We recorded an album with him, and that really opened my eyes to the ukulele as a more serious instrument. In fact, I don't like saying this because, you know, as you will have seen, we like to make fun of Paul quite a lot, but he was brilliant. He came in recording this ukulele, and I was kind of dreading it. You know, I've got like a week with this guy in a studio playing the ukulele. I was kind of like, you know, really not looking forward to it. Within kind of 10 minutes of meeting him, it was like having a puppy dog in the studio. But a Labrador, you know, one of those mad Labradors that can't sit still, you know, who's literally pressing buttons, looking at things, asking 1,000,001 questions as he does. And yeah, so since that day, we've referred to Paul as our kind of Labrador puppy in various circles. But his album, which is called, can I remember the name of Paul's album? Something along the lines of Me, My Ukulele and I. No, that's not what it is. Bongoboy searching for it. I'm terrible with names.
Me, My Ukulele and I.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Me, My Ukulele and I. So we recorded his album. Lots of really interesting songs on there. There's classical music on there. There's some Beatles stuff. Certainly some George Harrison stuff on there. And it really opened my eyes to how beautiful a ukulele can sound. I was amazed. It was this kind of smaller classical guitar sound, but it just had a sound all of its own. And that was the moment, really, that I kind of thought of ukulele more seriously. I'm not afraid to admit it. I didn't take it seriously before. People are going to hate me for that, but it's true.
Kevin had this idea that he would form a YouTube channel about ukuleles, something that he has never shown interest in since I've known him in the last sort of 5 years. And I thought, that's very niche and very strange. Why don't we just do a music YouTube channel? And he's like, no, we need a niche, we need something strange. So okay, sure. And they asked me if I could film it, because I've got a background in videography and photography. So I did that, and then I was editing some of the videos, and we then shared it between us. But my main role now is behind the camera, panicking 24/7, and making mistakes. That's my main roles. It's been a fun ride. It's been a very interesting almost year since we started. I met Paul. I met him on the first night that we filmed. I hadn't seen him before. I didn't even know who he was. It was just, okay, Paul, who? Okay. And they were saying like, oh, he's this superstar in the ukulele world, while they were giggling under their breath.
We went on from there to do some books with Paul, lots more recording. We found out that there's no way he can play in time. He can't count to 4. He can't. Minims are his nemesis. He plays them all as crotchets. So anyway, that was Paul. We got to know Paul really well. He was in and out the studio. In fact, we couldn't get rid of him. He was constantly, and then he was like, I've got an idea for a duets album and a duets book. Can I bring my friend into the studio? We were overrun with ukulele players. We didn't know what to do with them all. And that was maybe 6-7 years ago. Yes, so we've known Paul for that amount of time. We've always loved it when he came down to see us. And so I guess all of this led on to the ukulele channel, which, if I'm honest, it was kind of a way to see Paul a little bit more. It's not really worked out like that because he's never bloody here. We have to literally like go down and grab him and drag him into the studio to come and do some recording. He came in for a meeting about doing new books and things like that. And I'd always wanted to do not a ukulele channel, unfortunately. I'd always wanted to do a YouTube channel. And we said, well, why don't we start something with Paul? Paul was going to be the only presenter on it. We then looked at him talking to camera and said, no, we'll all join in. That actually didn't happen. Paul was probably going to be the only presenter on it. Me and Abbie just couldn't help ourselves, I don't think. So we were kind of there as publishers, and we were going to publish this thing and put out, a video every now and again. We then got very heavily into looking at how to do a YouTube channel. What should we be doing? We ended up making about 1 million videos last year. But that's what led us to it. I still, even though Paul had kind of turned me on to the sound of the ukulele a little bit, I still wasn't massively into it. I still didn't own a ukulele. So we started the channel and we bought a load of ukuleles. And I would say literally within a day, I became obsessed with it.
I had never touched a ukulele before this channel. And it was probably a couple of weeks after we'd started the channel and started filming that I actually picked one up and thought, oh, okay. Because I was sort of thinking, I can play a bit of guitar, but this is completely different because the strings are in the wrong order and there's only 4 of them, and how can I do a chord? And then Kevin and Abbie bought me and Fern matching ukuleles for our wedding. So that was the first ukulele that I've owned, and it was a tenor. We've done a review of it. You can see it here.
Didn't play the ukulele until now. Can't say I'm as good as Kenny, probably better than Paolo. But we're getting there. And it's so much fun. We've got to do so many cool things. We've got to showcase it for the brilliant instrument that it is. We've been able to showcase some great talents. We've got lots more interesting things coming up, lots more people that we're meeting. It's just been really fun. Every day is different. We get to do lots of different things. It's a weird little instrument, but it's our little instrument, just like Paul.
I did research for about 3 or 4 months before we actually started the channel, and it absolutely hooked me. So by the time we started the channel, I was already hooked. I remember Paul came down for the first day of filming, and we did the evening before we were going to film properly, we did kind of a bit of a test, and then Abbie and Bongoboy went home, and me and Paul was staying here the night because he's cheap and wouldn't book into a hotel, and he was scared to stay on his own, so I stayed here with him. And we sat up till about 2 a.m. chatting ukuleles, and that's the point where I realised that I was hooked because I was quite enjoying it, and I didn't want him to shut up and go to bed. And I thought, yeah, this is great. Fully into the ukulele. So that's what got me into the ukulele. It wasn't perhaps the usual path, which I think is playing with groups of people or seeing somebody, one of the famous ukulele players. I saw Paul. This was supposed to be a serious video. But Paul's brilliant. We love him. We make fun of him, but we think he's brilliant and we love him. But that's what got me into it. It was this combination of knowing Paul being a puppy dog that we loved, wanting to do a YouTube channel, thinking what can we do a YouTube channel about, but then becoming so hooked on it that I'm now obsessed with it. All I watch on YouTube is pretty much ukulele channels. And so I watch them all. I watch all the big ones that you guys watch, and I think they're all brilliant. And every day I go and check, are there any new videos? You know, has Alex put any new videos out? Has Rachel put any new videos out? And yeah, that's what got me hooked. A combination of things. Now, strangely, in the last 12 months, I've played way more ukulele than I've ever played piano. Not ever played piano. I've played way more ukulele than I've played piano in the last 12 months. Piano is still it's the thing that I'm best at. Certainly, ukulele is not the instrument I'm the best at. There's probably 4 or 5 before that. But my aim is to get there on the ukulele, and I play it all the time. I can't put them down. I'm the only person that practically every night walks out the building with a ukulele in my hand and walks in the following morning with a different one. But, you know, we've got a lot of ukuleles now. So that's what led me here. Musically, like I say, I've done lots of things, mainly centered around recording, but I've played lots of gigs with different people. I've done lots of sessions with different people. Played lots of venues, big, small, huge.
There was one year where we did 250 gigs in a year, which was mad. There was one weekend where we did 6 gigs. So it was like Friday night, 3 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And a couple of them were like an hour away from each other, and we only had 2 hours between the gigs or something like that. So that was a mad weekend. But they were mostly local gigs, mostly smaller venues, a couple of festivals. I would never measure up to Kevin's gigs because he's done big concert halls and all sorts of things like that. But I have played Cambridge Folk Festival and Harrods in London. And I don't think Kevin's played at Harrods.
I love playing. I don't really mind where it is. Some of my favourite gigs have been in small little pubs. Some of my worst gigs have been in massive concert halls. So yeah, I love going out and play. So we're going to do more of that with the ukulele stuff, and with the ukulele band. We're going to be out this year. I've said a lot, awful lot. I spent the other day cutting all the out of a video that I'd recorded. It took me forever. Instruments I play. I said I'd list the instruments I play because I want to show off. So, piano, guitar, drums,
percussion, so bongos, congas, cajon.
I did play with the recorder in primary school, so, you know.
I play all sorts of percussion. I worked as a professional tune percussionist for quite a number of years, playing in different orchestras, so xylophone, marimba,
djembe, Turkish drum, ibo.
Do you know what? I played a lot of professional triangle, and that is very, very true. Played in The Sound of Music once, and there's a lot of triangle in The Sound of Music. And they booked me to play drums, and there's no drums in it. I was really delighted to finally be playing drums in a musical, wasn't I?
I play Cluedo quite well. And Monopoly, I'm very, very good at Monopoly.
Drum kit. I can also play a bit of guitar and bass, and then most recently ukulele.
Washboard. Played lots of washboard for a period of time. Yeah, so lots of tune percussion. Guitar, I've said. Bass, I became a bit of a bass player a few years ago because I ended up playing bass for practically all of our artists on the record label. And I love playing bass. That's one of my favourite instruments to play.
But I would still say that percussion is my main instrument. I don't do the same sort of thing that Kevin does with orchestral stuff because I'm not talented enough, but I have very good rhythm. I've had quite a lot of controversy in the past because my playing style is not traditional at all. Whereas normal things, it's sort of using palms of your hands and getting different tones and notes out of the drums. I use my fingers and do finger techniques, which is similar to an Indian style of playing, but it's completely unintentional. It's just how I've taught myself how to play.
Trombone, trumpet, euphonium, saxophone. I took up a few years ago. I love playing saxophone. Oh, ukulele. I've got to say ukulele now. I play the ukulele. I can play a recorder. That's a bit embarrassing. Hammond organ is also a bit of a specialist of mine. I love playing Hammond organ. I don't play it enough anymore. That goes back to my sort of jazz playing. Double bass. I don't play any stringed instruments, as in violin, cello, and things like that. And I'm probably not going to change that because I think they're way too hard to play. I like instruments that I can pick up and play quite quickly. Stringed instruments are a nightmare. I don't know. There's others, but I play a lot of instruments, and I think that's given me the opportunity to be able to pick up the ukulele and apply everything that I've learnt to the ukulele. Ukulele is currently my favourite instrument. I'm going to say it's not the piano, it's ukulele. My mum's just died a little bit inside there. All the piano lessons that I had and everything else.
Even though I've done a bunch of YouTube videos of myself playing, I still get anxious being in front of the camera, which is I'm more and more in front of the camera on Anarchy, including this. So there's a lot of this that I'm having to cut out because I'm just sat there staring off into the distance trying to think about what I'm going to say.
The things I have enjoyed most about doing the channel, I think, like the little team that we've become, like it's really cute. We're actually quite, as much as we might mock Paolo and Bongoboy, we are a little team, and it is really nice. And just that camaraderie and that banter that we have, you know, it makes me look forward to filming, it makes me look forward to going to work. And we get to do lots of fun things. We go on adventures, we do silly challenges. The road trip's probably one of the most fun things that we did last year. I had so much fun, and we're hoping to plan another one for this year. All the Christmas videos, they were an absolute pain in the arse, but they were so much fun, and just to be able to experience that with my boys is nice, you know?
I'm going to do the like, subscribe, even though I think we've been cutting in and out of other people's videos here, because I'm the one in the studio. So if you've enjoyed hearing about us all and our background, then please do like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And we're nearly at 1,000 subscribers, so get all your friends to subscribe as well. Because if you can get us over 1,000 subscribers, I'll give something else away. I'll give Bongoboy away. You can have him for a day. You can do whatever you like with him. Bye-bye. How long was that? 3 hours?